Hello everyone, and good morning. I'm your host MX2, and it is 5:30 in the morning, and we are going to install HardOps and Boxcutter. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in and begin. So with our standard splash screen, I want to go ahead and choose the theme of default dark. It appears that themes aren't a thing as much anymore. So we will go ahead and set our spacebar action to search. We'll choose Save New Preferences, and here we are in our 3D viewport. If I press Shift H, I'll hide everything that isn't the main object in front of me, and I'm going to attempt to just drag and drop an add-on onto Blender, and we're just going to install it. And if everything works out, the HardOps icon should appear over here on the side. And just like that, we have installed. Now I will drag and drop Boxcutter, and we get the same dialog. We want to go ahead and choose to enable on install, and with that, Boxcutter has now been started. So we will press Alt-W to start Boxcutter. I can go up to the top, and we could choose to save our startup file, and from here we can begin jumping into the tool. Of course, with me being complicated, I like to do a little bit of configuration before I get started. So let's jump over into the hops drop down over into the opt-ins, and we want Boxcutter notifications, but we also want to have radial array jump to nodes. We want the nodes, and really that's about it. We could press Control K to bring up the hops preferences, where we can jump over to the properties of hops, and we can expand the hops properties, and we just want to make sure that we are choosing the right options for our array method. For example, I want to have a 3D array method when I start. So with that, we have now configured the tool's default. So I can just save my preferences, and now with Boxcutter I can just begin working. So we are just going to select our surface and begin cutting, and we see the notifications working and everything's working the way it's supposed to. Now I'll draw a box, shift it to live, shift select this shape, and then press Q and shift click on radial array V2 to use the nodal version, where I can press X to basically change the axis, and we can see that basically radial array is now supporting the nodes version based on my configuration. But with that, we now have HardOps and Boxcutter installed, ready for us to get in and begin. So what is new with this version? I hear no one in the back ask. So with that, I will go ahead and answer. So for this version, now you'll be able to right click and basically shade using auto smooth. And then when you use, like for example, shift clicking sharpen to jump into auto smooth, you see that the same modifier is just updated to take advantage of our systems by having the double exclamation points prefixed in front. So now users will be able to right click and shade auto smooth, shade flat, shade auto smooth, shade flat, shade auto smooth, shade flat through the right click menu, which we never accounted for, but has now been added by Blender. So now if you're working in Blender and you need to smooth by auto smooth, then you're able to do that, and we won't interfere with it. Contrast to how it was previous, where we were interfering with it slightly. Now users will be able to just work fluidly as much as they want with smooth or without smooth, and we will just respect that whenever you jump into our operators. But if you do happen to have Blender's built-in auto smooth mod enabled, whenever you jump into ours, we will take advantage of it and update the naming so that way it can stay inside of our sort system. But other than that, we now acquiesce control of it fully onto the user. So now you're able to take control of your own smoothing destiny, even outside of us. And that's it.